I think a few people in this audience might have seen this picture before. I thought that the primary reason this picture appears so magnetic to me is because it represents really what we're trying to do and why we are trying to do what we're doing. Okay? I see this picture as representing the next billion people who are going to move up and who want a seat at the high table and who want to, live like a bunch of us have been living for a long time. Okay? And, all of these people are absolutely welcome to join us at the seat. But how are we going to do this? How is it when a billion more vehicles are on the road? How is it going to be if a billion more vehicles are going to be running on petroleum products? Okay? Is that something that we're going to be able to live with? So this is why we're doing what we're doing, which is that we're working on making electric mobility available, accessible, and affordable for the masses. Okay? The world saw Tesla 5 to 10 years ago, and now we have BMWs and Nissans and so on. But these billion people are the ones who are going to be bringing vehicles. They'll be using vehicles. Maybe they'll buy them. Maybe they'll use them in a shared fashion. But they're going to be using them. And how are we going to do this? Okay. Today's vehicles that use batteries have a lot of issues. Okay. If you really want to make a very sort of tier 1 type vehicle with a very good battery, the battery can cost more than half the price of the vehicle. Okay, and if you don't spend that much money on the battery, the less and less you spend, you start seeing a lot of different problems. You start seeing problems of range. You start seeing problems of cycle life, how long it lasts. You start seeing problems of how much time it takes to charge the battery, and so on. So I've tried to list maybe 10 different issues here. We have been working in the guts and gore of technology to try and identify a few key reasons why batteries are what they are and to see if we can make a difference. Okay? So I like to think of batteries as, or electric vehicles as having a heart and a brain. Okay? The heart of the electric vehicle is the stack of cells that store the energy, and the brain is called the battery management system. That's all the intelligence which manages the battery and makes the electric vehicle behave better or worse. We're doing a lot of work in this battery management system, trying to make it better, trying to make the vehicles better. What is it? What is this rocket science that we're trying to do? And a lot of people ask me, how is this any different? There are battery management systems, dime a dozen. You can go to Alibaba and buy a battery management system for like $15 a kilowatt hour or something. So why am I doing what I'm doing? Battery management systems have existed. I sort of classify them in a couple of generations. The first generation is a very simple system that just monitors the battery, and it takes care of raising flags and warning you about safety, or getting too hot or using too much current or too less voltage and so on. Those are typically the kind of battery management systems that you'll get on e-commerce sites for fairly small price, and those are the ones that you might actually see in a lot of very low-end vehicles that you see being made in India, because they, per force, because of market's ability to spend money, they have to be at a very low price point. The next generation of BMSs are those that manage mismatch in batteries. Okay, one of the key performance drivers in a battery is how mismatch between cells in a battery is handled. And there are some techniques called passive and active balancing which are used, and they're sort of adequate, they're sort of inadequate. If you do passive balancing, your charging time actually starts going up as the battery grows older, and you don't necessarily gain as much in range. So we have put together something that we refer to as dynamic balancing. This is our first big innovation, and we have brought this to the table by combining these sort of three very guts and gore types of technologies, which is power electronics, computing, and communications. We put them together very closely in a very integrated fashion, and we're able to manage batteries and mismatch between batteries in a dynamic way, which means that we never actually allow the battery to be unbalanced, and therefore we don't have to do either passive or active balancing, and it improves the performance of batteries in many dimensions. Okay? So this is a picture of a few thousand tests that we have done on a small 1 kilowatt hour battery. And we see that as the battery grows older, and this is in terms of number of quarters that approximately one would use a battery for in a vehicle. After a second or third year, what happens is that the number of kilometers that I can drive in a full charge starts dropping in batteries that use older technologies, generation 2 or generation 1 technologies, but we are able to maintain the range quite nicely. So we start doing 20-30% better in range from the older technologies. The improvement in charging time is even more sort of eye-popping. Okay. In passive balancing, what you do is you sort of drain away some of the imbalanced energy by draining it at a very low current rate, okay, 200 milliamperes kind of current. Because the current is so low, it takes a long time to drain it. We don't have to do any of that, so we gain a lot of time while charging, okay. So some of these advantages, when you put together, and you start seeing, hey, some of the challenges that are hurting electric vehicles today actually may go away. For example, if you can do better range and better charging time, you'll spend less energy, you'll spend less time at the station, you will have to, the people operating the charging networks will have to spend less capital to actually build the charging networks, and so on, okay? So we believe that through our approach of this kind of innovation, which melds together power electronics, computing, and communication, we are going to be able to really kind of make a big difference in a very large number of these dimensions, and therefore make electric vehicles affordable. Okay, that's us. We have started doing field pilots over the last 2 months, driving 2- and 3-wheeler vehicles using our batteries and our BMSs. And some of the results that you saw in those graphs came from these tests. We are looking to start commercial pilots in the January, February, March quarter. Okay, and we expect to see very fascinating results in those also. Thank you.